Hello guys, MotoHolic here and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to continue talking about motorbike security system. Last time we talked about disc brake lock, which is a passive security system. Link will be somewhere up here. Today we are going to talk about active security system like an alarm and a GPS tracker. So stay tuned to find out the cons and pros of active security systems. So before we get into cons and pros of alarm and a GPS tracker, I would like to tell you guys that the more security system you have installed on your bike, the less chances or the lesser target your bike becomes for a potential motorbike thieves. Because if the trouble is not worth the reward, then the thieves are just going to move on and steal somebody else's bike instead of yours. So that's why it's a good idea to invest into some motorcycle security system. So I have this alarm system installed on my bike, and it gets installed in your bike and you get a little key ring like this that pretty much controls the alarm. So what you could do is you could arm your bike, the press of the button, you could disarm it. You could actually, this alarm system has a remote start option. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And it has like an alarm test button that when you press, the bike just starts making noise. With my experience over I think the period of 2 years, maybe close to 3 years, I've had this system installed. I had no issues. The only one issue I had is that the siren of the alarm, like the speaker that actually makes noise, that just got busted and it stopped working for some reason. Maybe it got wet or whatever it is, and I had to replace that. But it's not such a big expense and it wasn't a big issue to do it. Now for a GPS tracker, I have actually got 2 trackers with me. I haven't installed them in my bike yet, but here is one of them. It's just a little black box that you connect to your motorbike. You put a pre-activated SIM card in it, and once it's all configured, then you could pretty much activate it, deactivate it, check your location of your vehicle and a bunch of other things via just sending a text to that number. Also, you could enable an online tracking. For that, you'll need to have data enabled on your SIM, and then it will just sync it to the server and you can watch live track of your vehicle or whatnot. So there are a few types of active alarm systems for your motorbike. There's just plain and simple alarm for your bike that when somebody tries to move your bike or touches it, it will go off. You can arm it and disarm it with your remote. This is what I have. Then there is a two-way alarm. It's pretty much what it does when the alarm goes off. It sends a signal back to your keychain and it will vibrate or send you a message or something like that. We'll get more into details of this thing. And then there is an alarm with immobilizer. It's pretty much like a more advanced alarm system that if your bike has an immobilizer, it will turn that on and then the thieves won't be able to start your bike without some serious wire figuring and messing around. Or you could go with a GPS tracker also. That's another option. But that is not like it's not exactly an alarm. It will send you, it could send you a message to your registered phone number when your bike gets moved, but it's not going to make noise and scream. It doesn't have a siren or anything built in. You could also go with a combination of any of the above. You could get an alarm with a GPS tracker or like a two-way alarm with GPS tracker, but I will get more into details of this alarm system as we go on. Just to be clear guys, this whole video I'm not like trying to promote any alarm system or anything. This is just my own personal experience of what I have with motorcycle alarms and motorcycle security. Let's get to the cons of an alarm system installation. Number one is that it is quite an intrusive installation. You'll have to cut some wires, you have to splice some wires, connect, and do quite a bit of tinkering on your wiring system of your motorbike. Number two is that alarm with a siren is actually not as effective as you think. You know, it is effective as long as you can hear the siren. Then you can run out to your driveway and see who's messing with your bike, or if you're sitting in a cafe and suddenly your bike alarm goes off, you can go and see. But if you can't hear it, as it's only going to alert people around it, and it depending on the type of neighborhood you live in, some people don't care and they just, you know, walk by a bike that is sitting there with an alarm going off and somebody fiddling with it. Some people might pay attention and call the cops. It really depends on the country and the neighborhood that you are in. I mean, I've seen a video of a guy, he did a test of disc brake lock with an alarm on it, and it was his own bike, so he locked it, and then he pretty much loaded the bike onto like a skateboard and rolled the bike with alarm blaring through the whole central street of the city, and nobody paid any attention to him, nobody stopped him, nobody even asked him, hey, what's going on, are you stealing this bike or what? Siren on your alarm, it's a bit overrated. Don't put too much trust onto it, because sometimes people just, they don't care. Okay, con number 3. Apparently, it is not that complicated to bypass the alarm system. I have not done this myself personally, I have not tried, and I don't recommend you guys doing that either. But if the installation of the alarm is quite simple, and if the alarm is not super sensitive, with some know-how you could get into the bike wiring system and disable the alarm before it goes off. Con number 4 is that in some cases, because of the intrusiveness of the installation of the alarm, it actually might void your warranty on your bike. Now I know some people don't care about this and some people do care about it, but pay attention to these things, and it really depends on your dealer, depends on the manufacturer of your motorbike and things like this. I know that, for example, Indian motorbikes, it specifically says that installation of a third-party alarm system on the motorbike will void the warranty. Good luck trying to explain to the people at the service center that because you installed the alarm, now you have an issue with your timing chain, and that these two things are not related. They will just say, sorry, you installed the alarm, it voids the warranty, so we're not going to do any warranty work on your bike because of that. Sometimes they're just douches like that. Con number 5, and I almost forgot about that one. Guys, remember that alarm and the GPS tracker, they're both battery hungry. So that means if you have it activated and your bike is not running and your battery is not charging, it will slowly drain your battery. I mean, motorbikes have smaller batteries than cars, so this is really an issue for us motorcycle riders. So pay close attention to it. If you have an option, choose an alarm or a GPS tracker and a GPS tracker that is less power consumption. The GPS tracker, for example, that I have, it has a sleep mode, so basically if there is no activity or anything, it goes into like a hibernation sleep mode, and it barely consumes any electricity. This is something serious that you guys should look into and research some before installing the alarm system. Alright, enough of the cons of the alarm system, now let's go to the pros. Pro number 1 is you could start your bike, you could actually operate your bike without having to insert the key into the lock. Again, it depends on the alarm system and the installation and how you do it. With my existing alarm, I've had it wired in such a way that with the remote start, I could start the motorbike and I didn't need to put the key into the ignition. I could have the key in my pocket and ride with it and not worry that I lose the key or I forget in a bike or anything. It's another convenience. Also might be a cool thing, you know, you're walking down the street and then you see your bike parked over there, and before you even make it up to there with the remote start, you could start your bike and everybody's like, wow, this guy's bike started without him even being there. Yeah, I have to admit, guilty. I've done this a few times myself. Whatever. Okay, pro number 2. The siren of the alarm is actually quite loud. So if you are in a quiet neighborhood, in a residential neighborhood, if the alarm goes off, it will go sirens blaring and everything will probably wake up everybody, and you know, people will hear it. So I don't know, it could be a con, it could be a pro. For alarm, it is a pro because it is loud and everybody hears it. A little bit of a con on that side is, you know, if kids come and start messing around with your bike, somebody just touches it or slaps it, then it goes off. It's kind of like a fake alarm, and it is quite annoying. I've had this thing with my bike that, you know, kids figured out that I have an alarm, so they would just run up to my bike, slap it, and then it would start blaring, and then it would laugh and run off. So yeah, it is annoying in that sense. Pro number 3, that alarm is another deterrent for the thieves. Yes, if they know that your bike has an alarm, they rather target another bike that doesn't have an alarm system installed because it makes it easier for them. As I said earlier in the beginning, they go for an easy target, not something that is complicated. So if your bike is not worth disarming the alarm and having a chance of getting caught in the process, then they'll just move on to another bike. Pro number 4 of the alarm system, that is actually, it might save you on the insurance. It depends on what country you live in, it depends on your insurance company and everything, but it is something to consider that you might save some money on insurance premiums just because you have an alarm system installed. Check with your insurance company and find out all these details. See if it's worth it for you or not. If the price of the alarm is higher than the amount of money you save on the insurance, how much higher, and all these things. You could easily Google it up and find out and contact your insurance company and get all the details from that. Pro number 5 is only actually applicable if you have your alarm coupled with your GPS tracker. So if you're out of earshot range and you cannot hear the alarm going off, then your GPS tracker can send you a notification message via SMS or via the net that somebody has moved your bike and your bike is on the move. So again, this pro only applies if you have an alarm with the GPS tracker, or if you have managed to install the two together so the GPS sends you a message when alarm goes off. Tip number 6 is that it is quite convenient if you always park your bike in like a large parking lot with lots of motorbikes or in a crowded place. It is quite easy for you to find your bike when you have your alarm. What you do is you just press the activate alarm or deactivate alarm button on your remote. Your bike indicators will blink, it will make the beep beep sound, and then you can easily find it and locate it in a crowded area. How would I go about installing an alarm system with a GPS tracker or without GPS tracker? What would I do? How would I install it? So number 1, I would take just a simple alarm without any immobilizer, two-way and any of this, because as I mentioned earlier, the two-way system is not really reliable. It only works at the range of the remote, and the range of the remote is generally like 100 meters, maybe 200 meters at the most. So if you are way out of earshot of your alarm of your bike, then the two-way system is really not going to inform you that somebody moved your bike, and you'll be just thinking that it will give you this false sense of security that nothing is happening. So I will go for a simple plain alarm system that will just activate upon somebody touching the bike or moving the bike. Most of them will have a feature that has a remote start connected to your indicators that they flash when the alarm goes on and off and stuff like this. I would avoid doing all this because, as I said earlier, I want to minimize the wire cutting and intrusion on the electrical system of my bike. I have friends that had issues with this kind of things, that they have installed exactly same model of the alarm as I have on exactly same model motorbike that I have, but for some reason his alarm would just randomly sometimes would go off and go on. It would cut off his bike and do all this kind of crazy stuff. So I would personally like to minimize the amount of intrusion, so I would just take the alarm, connect the positive and the negative to the power, and that's about it. And I would obviously connect the siren to it, and that's it. I'll just have it for the alarm's sake. I will not use the remote start option, the immobilizer option, the two-way option, none of this stuff. It is quite pointless for me. Now, as for a GPS tracker, I would not go for like an online tracking because it really is not necessary. It's a waste of data, it's a waste of money for me. I would just take a message alert system that will set it in such a way that when somebody moves your motorbike, then it will send me a text message. Actually, that feature does not rely on GPS signal or anything, so even if your bike is parked in like a downstairs basement or something and there is no GPS signal, as soon as somebody moves your bike, it has a geosensor or whatever, like a sensor in it that triggers it and it says, hey, somebody moved the bike, let's send a text, and I will get the text. I have done dummy tests with my existing GPS system about that, and it works perfectly fine. It doesn't even need a GPS signal for that kind of thing. It'll just send me a text saying, hey, somebody moved your bike. The downside of that is if you want to go ride your bike, you have to send a message to your GPS tracker and say, hey, deactivate the motion alarm. Otherwise, it'll just keep sending texts to you. So as I said, I will have these two, an active alarm system, plain and simple, just a siren, and a GPS tracker, and I would not put them in the same place. I would not connect them to the same wires or anything, just for the security reason, in case the thieves find out that I have an alarm, it will start blaring. They will go and disconnect the alarm and they will think, wow, everything is safe now, we can roll off your bike and stuff, but I will still be able to track them via my GPS tracker. Now another thing is, it is a good option to get a GPS tracker which has a backup battery in it. I'll tell you why. If the thieves take your bike and start taking it apart, they will disconnect everything from the batteries first thing first, right? But if your GPS tracker has a built-in battery, you'll still be able to track them based on that battery. I have to tell you, it's not going to last forever, but it will give you some time to get the location of these guys and whatnot. Well guys, I really hope that none of this actually happens to your vehicle, that your alarm, you don't have to rely on it all the time, and that God forbid that you have to use the GPS tracker to find the culprits and chase them down and knock on their garage door and stuff like this. But it is always good to have these measures and to be prepared for any of these kind of things. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'll leave links in the description. Guys, in my next video, I'm gonna tell you why your motorbike lies to you on a daily basis. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, press the little bell icon so you get notified every time new videos come out, and ride safe and enjoy every moment of it. हाँ बोलो না আমি তোমাকে ডাকছি একটু পরে MotoHolic here, so stay tuned. So but that is not this whole thing. I'm not number one. Number two, really, so don't so there's an issue with your okay, pro number again, that's another pro. Thank you for watching. I'll leave links in the description, and stay tuned for more interesting videos that will be coming out every time new videos come out. So don't forget to subscribe, press the little bell thing, and enjoy every moment of it.